That's 17. Nice. All right, everyone. So, not too much action going on for Bitcoin. Here we're taking a look at the daily chart. And if you remember the last analysis that we made, we talked about how there's a couple different ways that you can look at this. Um, Still, the main way that I want to look at it is this is a lower high, right? Lower than this high. So I'm still looking at this as we are downtrending for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. Now there is obviously so many different ways that you can look at it. Market structure is very much to be interpreted, and it's up to you to interpret it. So, really quick, let's go through just every single way that I could potentially see of how you could look at this. So, there's, this down section, then you have a couple different options here. You could go straight up to the next high, like I do. In that case, you would have a bearish market structure. Or you could say this was your high, and this was a higher low, and now this is a higher high. So, you would have a bullish market structure. Right? And at the moment, you would be technically holding a higher low, higher than this low. So you would be trending bullishly on your daily chart if that's the analysis that you're going to make. If that's the market structure interpretation that you're going to have for this chart, then you would be bullish, right? So it's just a matter of how are you looking at it and what's the relevant sort of swing points. What is the relevant high, what is the relevant low. And honestly, I wish there was a textbook answer. I wish I could just say this is right, this is wrong. But like I always sort of preach, ta is an art form, and it's very much up to you. It's an art form in the fact that there's no really way to debate anything. um, or I'm sorry, you can always debate something. There's no real way to sort of have everything be black and white, right? There's always that gray in between. There's always going to be room for argument. It's beauty in the eye of the beholder. So that's the daily. And the main takeaway from that, from the fact that we can sit here and debate what is the daily structure, your main takeaway from that should be this is a mess, right? That is the main takeaway. This is a complete mess. You shouldn't be able to argue what your structure, what your trend is on your daily. That probably means that you're not certain. There is no real trend at the moment. You're kind of just going sideways, and that's what we're seeing. For the past about 2 weeks or so, we've been going relatively sideways. Obviously some pretty crazy deviations where this day you had a negative 15 down spike, and then this day you had a 20% up spike. But for the most part, we're seeing price come back to this sort of mean here, this sort of middle ground at 34K, and just go sideways. So that is your takeaway. Whether you want to look at it as a bearish trend or a bullish trend, I wish I could give you guys a clear cut answer, but this is my honest answer: is that there is no trend. This is simply just chop, and it's there to make you think, oh, we're going to 50K, and then the next day, oh, we're gonna probably go to 20K, and then flip your high time frame bias over and over and over again. So it serves absolutely no purpose, right? That doesn't mean it's not important. It's still very important. And whatever happens here will likely determine the high time frame trend. It's just that it's not clear when that is going to happen, right? But we'll keep at it. We'll keep looking at this price action and taking it day by day. So then we jump into the 4 hour, and your 4 hour chart is very much the same story. Very much so. So I think it was 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday morning, we talked about, we broke down from our 4 hour 200 MAs. We even, our 4 hour 200 MA, the green one, we even bearish retested it, right? And we also lost this 34K 4 hour zone. We lost it as support. Then we bearish retested it along with the green MA as resistance. And then we talked about, that in itself might see a drop down to this 4-hour 200 EMA. And from there, if you see a bounce, you probably come up, test this again, and see more chop, right? See more sideways, even more than what we're already getting. Price will likely get pinched in between these 200 MAs for who knows how long. Maybe it comes down and breaks, and that was the consolidation, or maybe it, sits here for another 4 days, or who knows, right? But that's the analysis that we made. If we hold this as support, then likely we see this act as a ceiling and just keep chopping in between, right? And if we break above, that opens up the door to potentially head up to this 36.4K supply zone again, right? So nice supply zone, sort of got resolved quite a bit, right? We had this massive pulse through it. Here we didn't really respect it too much. We talked about this as well back, a month ago. But it's still very much a general idea of where you can expect some sort of resistance. So if we break above this 4-hour 200 MA, we reclaim it as support. We also reclaim the 34.2K zone as demand rather than supply. Then you might see another spike upwards into this 36 point, you know, 4K supply zone. The alternative, if we break below the 4-hour 200 EMA, we do have some demand still in this 31K region. Then we have our range lows, right? So maybe there's some demand here that I'm not quite seeing. I don't have it marked, but we do have range lows here, just meaning that price came down with these areas and saw nice buybacks, right? So these are, we're trending in a range, we're going sideways within this sort of range. So these are our range lows. As for demand, our next 4-hour demand zone, if we break down below all these levels, is this 27.4K zone, right? So every time that we kind of broke down below this level, I've been warning, hey, we might come down to this 27K zone. And then again here, hey, we might come down to this 27K zone. But it very much got front ran. We haven't seen that. So maybe if we break down this time, we will see it. There's no telling, but that would be my analysis, right? And then below that, you have 24K, and then below that, you have your 20K. So not too noteworthy as of now. We're gonna do another live stream by Wednesday, so unless price really starts to break out, probably not going to hold that much merit. All right, for hourly chart, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but this chart is ugly. Okay, it is not a tradable chart. No one that I know personally looks at this sort of price action and feels comfortable with picking a direction. No, no real trader that I am personally talked to in the past, few days is comfortable with this Bitcoin price action. It is very much, uncertainty on a chart. It is chop and irrational, no logic, just kind of it's there to mess with you. So, we are seeing our hourly 200 MAs respected to some degree, but it's not perfect, right? It's not seeing the nice clean tests like back here. We started chopping through them, right? But before that, they were acting as nice, clean, pinpoint sort of levels for price action. Then what happens is you sort of start to resolve these hourly 200 MAs, and the trading volume, all starts to get mixed in. Then just start trading around them and in between them and throughout them, and it that's when it starts to get ugly, right? When you go sideways for too long. So we're seeing sort of the same thing here. We did break down below the hourly 200 MAs. Logically, you would think, we come up, maybe bearish retest it, get rejected, but we had hold it as support, then die through it, close multiple candles below, then just come right back up, and here we are. We bullish tested it again, saw a measly reaction, got rejected from this 34K zone, So now maybe we come down and hold them again. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just go straight through like we did on the way up. It is ugly price action. And it's not ugly in the sense that it's bearish or anything. It is ugly in the sense that you can't really understand what's going on. And you can make whatever sort of narrative or, any sort of analysis or judgment on where price could potentially go or what it could do. There's just so many possibilities that it's not ideal to even be trading this right now. Right. That's why you're seeing Jacob focus on a lot of those altcoins. And even if they do get stopped out, it is a trend. They're uptrending or they're downtrending. Either one, but at least they have a trend to it, so it's easier to play. So that's the analysis for Bitcoin. That one was pretty quick compared to what we usually do, but that's the main point. It's just that this is choppy. This is ugly price action. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll be dead honest with you guys. I'll never lie to you guys. I don't have a good read on this chart. So I want to move on. To be quite honest, I want to move on. I hate looking at charts that look like this. So let's take a look at. We're not going to take a look at dominance. I don't think we need to. Let's take a look at ETH BTC. Actually, haven't looked at this chart since we last talked about it. Actually, I think we need to look at the weekly, right? Okay. So ETH BTC. I think last time we talked about this was Friday, and we hadn't closed this weekly candle yet. Obviously, we said we want to see this weekly candle close as a bullish retest of this major zone, right? This major zone was previously support, and now that we are above it, I know that current price action is in it, but we are technically above it and testing it bullishly as potential support, right? So if we see this zone hold on our weekly chart, there's potential for a move up to our next weekly resistance at 0.054. So that is the simple analysis. Just looking at this from a weekly, a much higher time frame perspective, maybe in the next few months or so, we see a move up to this 0.054 region. On our daily chart, same thing, same exact analysis. It's the same zone. We sort of pinpointed it a little bit more for our daily chart. I think we actually drew this on a 4 hour. But hold on, someone's mic is not muted. Uh, Sorry, G logo, I had to mute you. All right. So we drew this on a 4 hour chart, I believe, but it's very much the same analysis. We are uptrending. This is a bullish market structure. It's a very clean trend, higher highs, higher lows. So from here, really, you should be looking for another higher high to follow. That is what your market structure on your daily is implying, right? So you want to keep anticipating the trend until it breaks. And then the idea is you can play the trend enough times and be profitable to more than make up for the one time that it does break and it does go against you, right? And it's inevitable. We saw it for Bitcoin. We played Bitcoin all the way up from, 12K all the way to 40K, and it finally broke on us. And, I think we got stopped out on one long. But the entire time throughout that, we had multiple longs hitting just by playing the trend. So that's the idea here. And then we zoom in a little bit more. So now this zone here is a little more clean, a little more visible. So we are currently holding a higher low on our 4 hour. It does look like we broke down quite a bit. I think we lost our market structure. I would say this was probably some sort of a high, and then we had a lower low, lower high, but now we're holding a higher low on our 4 hour demand zone that we had previously drawn. So if we hold this zone here and we follow up with a higher high, that'd be good. That'd be a nice bullish shift in your market structure, you would have your 4 hour in agreement with your daily. And from there, you probably head on to continue that daily trend of higher highs and higher lows, that we should be looking for. So maybe we're beneath some hourly. Yeah. So we're beneath some hourly 200 MAs. So reclaiming these MAs as support would also be that bullish break. Not even a break, because this is your break. The higher low is your break, right? The higher high is now your confirmation of a bullish trend. So if we do reclaim these hourly 200 MAs as support, that would also be the confirmation of that bullish shift in our market structure. And it does look like we have some hourly supply in this zone as well. So let's go ahead and draw that. So now you have a bunch of confluence here. So if this does break out, there's quite a bit of opportunity to catch that move, right? Assuming that this is our low, should target that weekly resistance. Then when price breaks this region, you've broken your hourly supply zone. If you bullish retest it, you are testing it as support. You've also broken your hourly 200 MAs, and you've shifted your 4 hour market structure bullish once again. And in order to do that, you would have to shift your hourly as well. So that would mean all of your time frames would be bullish, and you just previously reclaimed some pretty key resistance levels. So that would probably trigger a nice long, and this is a rough draft of what that long could potentially look like, right? So lots of interesting and intriguing stuff for ETH BTC long term. Let's get rid of these squiggles. All right, when you can, please unmute me. Okay, I got you. All right, you're unmuted, G Logo. What's up, man? Nothing personal. I just muted you. I think you were talking in the background to somebody or something. Oh, you're good, man. No problem. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing just fine. Oh yeah, yeah. I try to mix it up a bit, but that's the most common times that I can get, that I'm available is like 3 to 5 p.m. EST. Yeah. All right. That's all I had planned for today's stream. So if you guys want to start giving me some charts that you want to see, we can jump into that. G Logo wants Rune. I already know that, right? he wants he wants he wants Rune USDT. As soon as I heard that mic unmute, I already knew what was going on. All right. I haven't taken a look at this chart in a while actually. You gotta clean it up a bit. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Okay, is this fib relevant still? 4.236. Looks like we did get rejected from it. Yeah, I'd probably keep this fib draw here, just because the 2.618 of this fib draw got respected very well. This higher time frame fib is no longer needed. So 4.236, if we break out above this and price is not really showing too much weakness here, we could see another move upwards to this 6.85 fib. So $5.30 region. Sure, as you know, this is bullish trending on pretty much every single time frame. I don't think a single time frame is bearish at the moment. Um, let's get rid of this really quick. All right. Is there a better fib draw we can do? I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to beat the one that I had, the most local one, right? Because this one is, yeah. Yeah, I can't really give too much of an analysis on this, unfortunately. It's price discovery, it's uptrending. Dude, it is long your longs and continue longing your longs until this breaks trends, until this breaks any sort of structure or anything. Do you have 15-minute supply? Or I'm sorry, 15-minute demand now? Looks like it nearly got retested. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this, man. It is I gotcha. I think this $5 and 35 cents region, now that we are tapping the 4.236. So this is the ideal place for it to top out. But nothing that I can see agrees with the idea of this being a top. This price action looks no different than the price action prior, where you had the supply that formed on this fib here, and you broke out and you bullish retested it, right? We're seeing that, but just on a smaller scale. So you broke out, and here you are. You had supply, and now you're bullish retesting it. So if this is unbelievably strong, we hold this and we just continue that uptrend from here. We come up to test the 6.85 fib. um that is actually more likely than a breakdown, right? Just because of the trend. If you start losing key levels, if you start losing 15-minute 200 mas, you know so on and so forth, then you can get scared. But until then, I would just keep going for the ride, man. Just keep riding along the trend. I don't know what this would look like, but you can draw it out. 2.3, and yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it's moved up so hard, it's kind of hard for me to be comfortable longing this high up, right? So I typically don't take setups like these, but the analysis is it looks good. Really? That's somebody in that's somebody in our community in Signal Profits? I was gonna say. Oh, okay, okay. I gotcha. Man, that's crazy. The guy's got hands made out of diamond. Yeah. Well, it's all perspective, man. All right. Anything else you guys want to take a look at? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, sure. Okay. Gotta. All right. So, oh, whose mic is that? All right, never mind. They muted it. Okay. So, curve USDT, strong uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. You did bearish retest this daily supply zone, and it's also confluent with a little local 2.618. I do want to draw this fib out. I'm not sure if it'll give me anything. Okay, hold on. Now I can't see. Okay, wow. So it's perfect 4.236 fib of a higher time frame draw, as well as you have this daily supply zone here. So this looks like a solid region for price to get rejected. But with that said, we already had the rejection in yesterday's trading, and it looks like today is coming up and testing it again. So if we close this daily candle above this zone here and above the 4.236, probably pullback postponed, right? You probably even head up to test this point of breakdown here, right? So in that scenario, if you do close above this supply zone, you also sort of get rid of that 4.236 relevance, right? And you might even see another huge move upwards. But that's all assuming that we break out and flip this supply zone. Your lower time frames probably won't help you too much unless you're trading something like a 5 minute and you're buying all of these dips. So probably not going to help you too much, but your 4 hour chart might help you in the sense that it'll be able you'll be able to see the breakout flip of this region, and then you'll be able to know you should be looking for higher price targets from there, right? As soon as it happens. So it looks like actually hourly 200 MAs are kind of the go-to. So if we do pull back, looks like hourly 200 MAs are where you should be interested in buying the dip. And then your invalidation would just simply be, the previous low, the previous market structure low on, either the 4 hour or the daily. So this is your market structure low. Well, actually, it's really this. But any long that you look to take on the hourly 200 MAs, you probably just hide your stops below this low or below this low. Right? And then the alternative to that, assuming that we don't pull back, is we break out flip from there. And then there's no telling really how high this could go. And then the other one was Algo USDT. Okay, cool. Don't tell me this looks the same. Do not tell me this looks exactly the same. Okay, it kind of does. I'm gonna redraw these fibs. I can't tell what's going on. All right. So we had the March drop, had this 1.618 where we had a perfect tap, and that acted as our local top. And then, hold on, I kind of just want to see something here. Did we find support on the golden pocket? Okay, not quite. Um, but it looks pretty similar to Curve. We do have this sort of resistance here on our daily, and then looking for these high time frame fibs as well, but we can get rid of those. So we have daily supply, right? So it's pretty much the exact same analysis. And I hate when it's like that because it seems like I'm just shorting you guys on a real analysis, but it's very much copy and paste of what I just said for Curve. You have this daily supply. You are bullish uptrending into it though, right? This isn't a sort of impulsive move where you just kind of it feels like a scam, right? Where over here you had this, you break out, you're obviously uptrending, but you break out, you test, and you just impulse right past this supply zone into this supply zone, get rejected, right? Here, you are very strongly grinding upwards in a bullish trend against this resistance. So it's a much different context. But as far as just plainly looking at the price action, you are testing supply, right? So it's an ideal place for price to pull back. But again, if it breaks out, you probably head to test this little resistance here. And then from there, you probably want to draw that fib that we had and then look for some high time frame targets, right? So breakout, flip, head to this 86 cent region, take some profit there. Then if we keep going, you're looking for that 2.618, 3.618, 4.236, so on and so forth. So the chart looks good. You're at resistance. Here, should you be looking to buy any sort of pullback? Looks like your 4-hour 200 MAs are the ideal spot, right? And that's not anything out of the ordinary. We had two tests, well, three tests of them prior and nice reactions. This was a bullish retest of this sort of daily demand zone. And here you can clearly see that this got rejected from the supply. So now you have either we come down, we test these 4-hour this 4-hour demand again, along with the 4-hour 200 MAs. You look to get long there, or you break out above this supply zone and you look to take that up for another 20% or so. Cool. Nice. Nice, man. Yeah, I'm a big fan of sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm a big fan of, take profit at the resistance, and if it comes back down, you can re-add, and if it breaks up again, you can add here, you know. And you're just holding on to that entry from way down below, but you just keep scraping some off, adding it back, and then scraping some off, and then if it breaks up and you're wrong and it doesn't pull back, then you add it back. You look for that next 20%. You scrape some off and it breaks above, you add it back. Just keep doing that and doing that. But yeah, I mean, you're doing the right thing though, because it's an uptrending coin, right? We're uptrending on all time frames. Daily, 4-hour, hourly, 15-minute. Every single time frame is uptrending. So you don't want to cut your position, right? I know this is resistance, so take profit at resistance, but you don't want to let go of that position because it's a much different context, like I said. But yeah, yeah. It has so much potential, if it breaks out from here and then it breaks 86 cents, you're looking for we got rid of those fib targets. But you're looking for what was the last fib? Like the 4.236 was like a dollar 80, right? So there's so much potential, right? So you want to hold on to that entry, and if it goes crazy, then great, you're exposed to it. And if it dumps, then at least you took some profit, and that if we lose the 4-hour 200 MAs, and we lose this daily demand zone, you should probably cut it there, right? Trend upward trend is dying off. So yeah, and just keep rinse and repeating that, and yeah, well done. Um, okay, so if you're very passive, um, I would say you want a stop loss in place unless you're trading spot. And for me, when I trade spot, I don't use a stop loss because I'm mainly just because, like you, I would be passively swing trading. So when I'm trading spot, okay, so if you're in futures, that's a different story. So for futures, I would have a hard stop loss just in case of like a black swan event, but I wouldn't have it as like an invalidation. I would want my invalidation to be, 4-hour candle closes below this daily zone and below the 4-hour 200 MAs. That would be my sign that I need to cut my position. But I would have a hard stop loss, probably, either below this wick, right? So my stop loss is here, but really, if we start closing candles below here, then I'll cut my position. But I just have my stop loss here so that in the event that we do sort of just have this massive, whatever, 80% down candle that just cuts through all these support levels, I don't hold on and give everything back to the market. That's the way that I would play that. If you're playing a long term leverage trade, I would have a hard stop loss. And especially if your entry, I don't know what is your entry exactly? Point 0.3? Okay, yeah. So you have some room to play. So you should feel pretty comfortable. So your entry is like down here, right? So if you have a stop loss here, a hard stop loss here, that's not your invalidation per se. You don't want price to come all the way down and stop you out here. It's more if it breaks below and we lose that level, then you know to manually cut it. But you don't want to get wicked out on something that's uptrending, right? So let's say we come down, we just simply test it and we go far below it and then reclaim immediately. You don't want that to happen. So I would have a hard stop loss somewhere where it's very unlikely that you get stopped. But if you do get stopped, it's probably the market is having a March 12th moment, another COVID crisis where this happens, right? So in that case, you don't want to be in it, but that's not necessarily your invalidation. So that's the way that I would play it, personally. Yeah, no problem. Good questions. All right. XLM. I hope you want USDT pair. So that's the one we're gonna look at. Not, we can take a look at BTC too. It's not a problem. All right. Interesting. So I think we looked at this Friday too. So we do have this sort of daily supply zone. Is this all-time highs? I don't know. But if this is all-time highs, then we have this all-time high supply zone here. Looks like we are trying to hold it. We are trying to close above it and confidently move around it so that we can keep going with this uptrend. But pretty choppy. Can't really tell what's going on the daily. So your 4 hour, what are these wicks, man? Are these real? Tell me this got multiple 10% up wicks. Okay. Well, I don't know if these wicks are real or not, or if this is just Binance bugging out. But I'm gonna assume they're real, and it just simply looks like this is consolidating to me. So we did talk about this on Friday, and somebody asked, does this have the potential to pull a Doge? And I said yes, the potential is there, but it's probably not as strong as you think it would be. And I think that analysis held up pretty well. I think the potential obviously got shown in this sort of 60% up move, but it was kind of short-lived, right? It didn't necessarily pull a doge. It wasn't that strong. Um, but it does look like we are flipping this 4 hour supply into demand. So if we hold that, you might see more continuation upwards. And where I would look to target are these fib draws, especially if this is all-time high. And that would be the most logical move for me. Right, so this price action is so odd, man. All right, the hourly makes me feel a lot better. The hourly is currently uptrending, higher highs, higher lows, along with our 4 hour holding this sort of demand zone now. We're also holding the hourly 200 MAs, right? So they're not getting tapped. They are getting front ran just quite a bit. But I would attribute these bounces to the hourly 200 MAs, right? Specifically the 200 EMA. So I would think your invalidation would be if price starts closing below these 200 MAs. I would think this is probably a top. This is just a impulsive move, and you probably continue your downtrend high time frame. Until that happens, I would very much favor the upside. We are holding that supply zone now as demand, and we are uptrending on your hourly along with holding the hourly 200 MAs as support. So there's more potential here, right? I still don't think it's as strong as something like what Doge did, but it is potential. There's definitely potential for this to break out and potentially make new all-time highs. And then from there, I would look for that 1.618, 2.618, so on and so forth. Or even you could do a lower time frame fib draw as well. This might work. This might be more realistic, right? So you could target these fibs as well. Probably not a bad idea. And those are real wicks. Crazy, right? Yeah, that is crazy. That is very crazy that we can have multiple 10% up wicks on your 4 hour within 3 days. It's very, very odd. The volume's not terrible either. I don't get it. It's not great. Well, actually, it is great comparatively. When you put it into perspective, it is pretty great. But I don't know. It's very odd that price would do that. Oh, I just messed up something. I don't know. All right. What else you guys got for me? INJ USDT and INJ BTC. Okay. Let's look at the daily. Oh man, I look at a chart like this and I immediately am like, Fibs, help me. Fibs, please. Um, yeah, that's not gonna help me. This one might. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect 4.236. That is the ideal top, but you know, when you put it in perspective, it would have been the ideal top back here as well. Doesn't mean that price has to top out. We had almost a 4.236 fib tap and got rejected, but we still had held that uptrend. And look at that. We have gone, another 200% from that fib draw. So perfect 4.236 fib tap, just like we saw previously. You very much have to zoom in pretty hard to catch anything on this. So looking at the hourly, obviously we know price is uptrending on the daily. On your hourly and your 4 hour, price is uptrending as well. Looks like we have. How do I want to draw this? I want to say it's like in this region. It's not. It's not pretty, but I'm assuming there's some sort of demand here. So higher highs, higher lows. I'm not sure what price is finding support on for these lower time frame taps. It looks like the hourly 200 MAs work pretty well. If this obviously does keep breaking out, you're gonna have to use another fib draw for more price discovery, right? Because we are in price discovery. Obviously, we're uptrending. You don't want to fight the trend. You don't want to capitulate at these fibs. You want to take profit, re-add on dips. Take profit, re-add on dips. Repeat that over and over. until this is no longer an uptrend. Until we have a bearish market structure on your hourly, you're below the hourly 200 MAs, you've broken your 4-hour market structure as well, right? And you form a lower high on your 4-hour. Then at that point, you can say, okay, this is probably done for a bit. This might cool down, pull back. But until then, very much an uptrend. You're looking for more price discovery. That is the trend. That is what the market is implying. I wish I had more of an analysis, but it's just very difficult to do an analysis on something that's in price discovery. There's only so much you can do for it. So what do we have here? So we had an idea where if price breaks out, flips, and we target, ooh, I don't know what we were targeting. It's probably a fib draw. I'm gonna go ahead and say it was a fib draw. That's the last move that we would have made. Is there another move for the BTC pair? So it looks like we do have daily demand. Yeah. So daily demand in this region, you just previously bullish retested it. Beautiful bullish retest on a daily level on your daily time frame. That is textbook. That is a perfect example of what you want to see. So from here, I'm looking at this high to low fib, and that would give me price targets for the BTC pair. So literally, I'd be looking to target each one of these fibs. Then really your invalidation is daily closes below this zone here again. So we had a perfect tap at that level. We almost tested the 4-hour 200 MAs. Our 4-hour is bullish trending once again, right? So we kind of broke the market structure to come down and test and then immediately put in a higher high. So invalidated it, put in a higher low. Now we're uptrending. So keep looking to buy the dips. Looks like your 4-hour 200s are the bigger pullback buy. And then for a smaller pullback, looks like this respects the hourly 200 MAs pretty well. Yeah. So very similar to the USDT pair because PTC isn't moving. So however much this goes up in USDT, it's probably going to translate over nicely to the BTC pair. And then, yeah, supply in this region. Bullish retest, looking for these fib targets. All right. What else you guys got for me? Yeah, sure. We can talk about my personal, you know, analysis. Because the analysis that I give you guys is more of it's more of a textbook. I try to keep it very technical to keep bias out of it, so that I'm less subject to be wrong, and then you guys hate me for it, because I'm giving you my thoughts instead of what's actually happening. So what's actually happening is we're consolidating. This is going sideways. It is chopping as many people up as possible. There's no real clear trend here. My bias is this is a downtrend. So until I see differently, then I'm going to keep looking for more downtrend. Right. So the way that I'm seeing it, we did talk about this in the update or in the beginning of the live stream, but when I'm doing this market structure analysis, I'm taking a very humble approach to it in the sense that I'm okay with looking at this chart and saying I have no idea what the hell's going on. Um, but when I look at it, first glance, the way that I see it is high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So now I'm looking to see if we get a lower low. If we don't get a lower low, then I'm probably wrong, and this probably is an uptrend, right? And then the other way you could look at it is low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high. So now you should be looking for a higher low. So there's just too many possibilities. There's so many different ways you can look at it. It's just you're very likely to be wrong because the trend isn't clear. So that's my take on it. But at the moment, I think if we were truly bullish, this is my thoughts and my opinions coming out, not textbook. I think if we were truly bullish, I don't think we'd be chopping in between the 4-hour 200 MAs. I think we would have tapped them and, seen another higher high, or tapped them and seen consolidation against them and then seen a higher high, rather than tap, no real reaction, breakdown, close back above, no real reaction, bullish retest, no reaction, break down again, break above, break down again, break above. And here we are chopping in between them. So I think if you were truly bullish, I don't think this price action would have even came to fruition in the first place. So that's my thoughts. But the real thought, um, yeah. So I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, but I talked about I'm very bullish on Bitcoin long term. I think, and these are all my thoughts, guys. I don't mean to bombard you with my thoughts, but I think personally that I've been waiting for, institutions to step in and this sort of next bull market to kickstart for so long now. It's finally happening. It's stupid for me to go full bear and say, okay, this market looks like it's dying, especially when you have, Michael Saylor tweeting like a Bitcoin maximalist every single day. You have Willy Woo saying that investors are buying Bitcoin and moving it to long-term storage, and just not looking to withdraw it anytime soon. And then you have Elon Musk, who finally, after being anti cryptocurrency for so long, has just put Bitcoin in his bio because I'm sure, looking at it from his perspective, I'm sure he realizes that if he wants to get to Mars, he needs some sort of currency to be able to transact on Mars. So I don't know. That's my narrative. That's the thing that I'm looking at, and I think this is just another step in the market that we're in. But as far as, like, news conferences and stuff, man, I'm clueless. I am absolutely clueless. I suck with fundamental analysis. I suck with reading news conferences, understanding earnings reports, stuff like that. I just stay away from it. So, I'm looking at the chart, and that's what I see. I see if we were really bullish, I don't think this price action would be this choppy. I think we would have seen a reaction and kept going. Um, but I'm still not a bear. I'm not bearish either. I'm open to everything, but dominance, we just talk about dominance. So we can do that really quick. So dominance, this wick is so annoying. It's not real. We found support on the 200 daily MA and we moved up. But for dominance, I talked about on the daily chart, we are still uptrending, right? So the way that I look at this, there's so many different ways you can look at it, but I'm seeing higher highs, higher lows, and I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary. As of recent, it does look like we got rejected from the 200 daily EMA, and we might come down and form that lower low finally and break down, and you see dominance head to this 58 point region. Until then, until dominance is below this level, below the 200 daily MA, I'm still very cautious on altcoins because I think there's still room for this to break out and put in, not even, it doesn't have to be a higher high. It just has to be another retest of this zone or, a lower high anywhere in this region. And it would still send altcoins spiraling. So I'm playing it very cautiously. We warned of a potential higher low and then higher high here, and it happened, right? So I saved so much capital by just playing cautiously, and I'm warning at a higher low potentially here as well. And the idea is maybe I'll save some capital, and if I'm wrong, then I jump in later when price is broken down, and I can ride dominance potentially down to this 58 point region. So I'm going to keep playing the trend, and the trend is up for dominance high time frame. And so I'm going to keep playing it that way until I'm wrong. And then for your 4 hour, trend is very much down. Your trend is down for sure. Right. So lower highs, lower lows. So really, you're looking for that higher low in the daily, but you're looking for a lower low on your 4 hour. So interesting point here for dominance. Sure. Uh, mm, it's Thor chain, right? Okay. Oh man, red and green. Doing this for you, G logo. I don't ever do this. I never do red and green candles anymore. Oh, and the colored fibs. Oof. Okay. So right off the bat, 1.618 looks key, looks ideal. And it looks like we're heading up to test that. So that's my first target long term. 1.618. So that is 144K sat or no, whatever, 1.4 mil Satoshi. However you say that. Um, so that's my first target. And then I just simply I just keep looking for these fibs, man. It's so hard for me to trade something that's in price discovery because there's not much to rely on. You don't have much to look for. It looks like actually this fib draw could be pretty relevant as well. So this is a lower time frame fib draw, but you did see the 1.618 respected pretty well. Saw a nice rejection, right? At least 15% rejection from that fib. So maybe you want to use this fib draw as well and target this 3.618 and the 4.236, and then you have your 1.618 in that region as well. So maybe you just look for somewhere in this region to take profit. Then if it breaks out and reclaim, or not necessarily breaks out and reclaims, but if it keeps going, then you look for the 2.618. It's probably not close to done yet. So yeah, I wish I could give more of an analysis, man, but it's just I don't have. Yeah, yeah, anytime, man. It's so it's so odd charting for you guys because you ask for these coins, and for the past, I've been trading for almost 6 years now. I want to say for the past 6 years, anytime that I don't have a good read on something or it's in price discovery or whatever the case is, I just set notifications for it, on like 4 hour 200 MAs or whatever area I'm interested in buying. And then I just step away from the chart. I just don't look at the chart. And if my notification hits, I know that, hey, something that is clearly uptrending is at a point of interest for you. And then I go look at it again. But otherwise, it's just like when I'm doing this day to day and when I'm looking at these coins, my actual thought process is okay, this is up so far, and I have no, real TA to apply to it, and then I just move on to the next chart. That's it. So I'm really adjusting to getting these chart requests for something that's like in price discovery. Like when we looked at INJ BTC, it's still hard for me to make an analysis on that and put it into words for you guys because really the analysis that goes on in my head is I can't touch this right now. There's no good RR. There's no good setup. There's no good pullback. I missed all the pullbacks. It's in price discovery, and that's it. And all I have for targets are fibs, and I move on. And that's it. It's just like you miss it, you go. So I'm still adjusting for sure, but we're getting there. Hopefully, you guys don't feel like I'm giving you a worse analysis on stuff like that, but it's just my honest thought process. Um, what else do you guys want to look at? Is there anything else? If not, we can end the stream here. Is still holding Rune? I think he is actually. Let's see. He put up his spot bags portfolio, so he said, yeah, he is holding Rune. He has it. Spot bags channel, VIP additional trades. It's like 4 under live market updates. So he does have Rune as a minor position. Yeah, it's hashtag spot bags. So if you go to VIP additional trades, it's the same tab that you see like live market updates and stuff. Yeah. So then he even put his like high time frame targets. So 287. Let's match that up with what we have. Rune. So I said 535, right? And JC said 445. Okay. I'm not sure what he saw. Um, he might be using his Canfield fibs. Yeah, he has those Canfield Fibonacci retracement or extensions. He used them for 2017 bull market, and they worked exceptionally well. Because um, I would have to do some research on it. I can find a TradingView link to it. I can send you the link, but if we need to do a live stream on it, I need to do my research first. I need to do my homework. Yeah. Um, but yeah, he used yeah. I'll do my homework. We can talk about it. Um, but yeah, he ran into the same problem that we're running into now, which is we draw these 4.236 fibs, and then we even have our 6.85 as a backup in case things go really parabolic. But what kept happening is 4.236 gets tapped and price just keeps going. It didn't matter. So he ran into the same problem that we're running into now, and that problem is your fib draw significance doesn't change, right? So this, like, if we draw from here for Rune, I would argue that probably one of these fibs in this consolidation is your most relevant fib draw, right? So it's the one that matters the most. So like when we look at the daily chart, you could say the one that matters the most is maybe this one, right? But then what happens is you see price come up to the 4.236, gets rejected, but then it finds a higher low and it keeps going. So then he needed fib draw extensions for much higher price targets. So he made his own. So he just followed the Fibonacci sequence and just kept going with it and just extended it. And it didn't have a name. No one else had done it. So he called it Canfield Fibonacci. So yeah. So I think that might be one that he drew too. But yeah. So he did that. And in 2017, he did a TradingView article on it. But in 2017, he used those fib draws, these Canfield Fibonacci draws, and he found that a certain fib got tapped, and the entire market topped out. So yeah, so he did that, and they might be very useful for us, especially since we're running into the same exact problem here in 2021. ETH USDT analysis. All right, not a problem. It looks like we're still in this supply zone. All right, so really quick, my favorite thing is people saying, "Oh, there's no supply here. There's no supply here. It's just a top. You know, when price comes up, it's just going to break through and keep going to that price discovery." Clearly, there's supply in this region, right? So, alternatively, there will be demand in this region, likely, if it gets bullish retested, right? So, we're still looking for that breakout from the supply, and if it gets bullish retested, that should be the ideal place for you to find a higher low and then look for fib extensions onward. And as for targets, we're literally going to do the exact same thing we did for BTC, which served us quite well. We're going to target these high time frame fib draws 1.618, 2.618, so on and so forth. So your first long-term target, meaning like weekly, monthly time frame, is 2.2K, right? 2,280. Um, as long as your daily holds a bullish market structure and continues its trend of higher highs and higher lows, that target doesn't change. So it stays there no matter what the pullback is, no matter if you get a 20% capitulation candle, if your market structure is still intact as it is now, higher highs, higher lows, there's no reason to change this trend or to change your targets. As for a lower time frame, 4-hour 200 MAs look like the go-to long region for any deeper pullbacks. So I would keep longing those until you're wrong. And once they do break down, then you can say, okay, this probably is some sort of a local top, and maybe we do come down and test this 920 region. And then from there, if you lose that, maybe you come down even further and test 630, so on and so forth. Till all that happens, you look to keep playing the trend. You look to keep buying the dip and looking for that breakout high time frame. Your 4-hour is the most ideal if you want to get in now. Your hourly looks like chop, so I wouldn't say get in now. I think if you wanted to get in, you wanted to get in on either of those pullbacks or a breakout retest of this weekly level. There's the alternative, which is very risky, is when you look at this on like a 4-hour chart, you are technically consolidating, right? So you have higher low, lower high, higher low. So now from here, you're looking for a lower high, right? It doesn't have to be here, it just needs to be lower than this high. If you get the breakout, you have a bullish market structure because you have higher low, high, higher low, higher high. So you would have a bullish trend at that point. At the moment, price is telling you look for the lower high, look for consolidation to continue. But what you can do in any consolidation because naturally it's 50-50. It's about as 50-50 as you can possibly get in trading, in my opinion. So, what you can do is you can bet on the consolidation breaking outwards. I don't like to do this. I have a very low hit rate, right? Because it is essentially 50-50. So there's no edge. You're just kind of betting. You're making a 50-50 bet, and if it goes below this consolidation low, you've broken down from your consolidation. You don't want to be in the trade because, we could head down to these 4-hour 200 MAs again. If it breaks up from the consolidation, then you have a very good payout, very high RR. So that's an option. It's not something that I enjoy doing. I would rather take setups where I'm playing the actual trend rather than just betting on consolidation. Anybody can bet on a consolidation. Anybody can draw, a symmetrical triangle and say, okay, I'm just looking for a breakout. So that's my take on it. It it does. I would agree. And the consolidation at supply is typically a bullish signature. So I would think, we've consolidated for a few weeks now. So if we do break out, I would think the breakout would be pretty strong in either direction. If we break out, I think it'll be a very impulsive move upwards. If we break down, I think, we'll probably head down to the test this 960 region very quickly. Break down, meaning we lose the 4-hour 200s. But yeah, that's my take on it. LRC BTC. All right. All right. So as odd as this looks, this is uptrending on your daily. So not much of analysis to be made here. I wonder if there's some supply. Um, maybe we shouldn't go that far back. Let's look at more local price action. So this level, this region kind of sticks out to me. Where's my bring to front? It's already in front. So that level sticks out to me. I would say that's sort of a daily supply zone. We are holding the current daily candle above it, so maybe we get a nice breakout. Your trend is upwards. You bullish retested your 200 daily EMA, and you're looking for that higher high as implied. So all that going for you, and then on your 4-hour, you also have an uptrend. I think you can better see how this was sort of a bullish retest on this zone here. Again, these charts just look so odd, man. These charts just look so weird. And I wonder if this fib draw will get respected in the future. And you know what else we should do? Golden pocket fib. Right. So from here, this does look to be breaking out. So maybe you can look to take a setup on this and just target the 1.618 as well as the golden pocket. So there's potential there. It's not, well, actually, it is pretty clean. Hourly 200 MAs get very well respected. I would think if you lose them, you probably break down pretty hard, right? So maybe you want to keep your stop loss just a little below them. And if we lose them, maybe we test this demand zone again. Maybe we bounce, maybe we don't. But if we lose that demand zone, I could see this retracing pretty hard. All right. Any other questions you guys have for me or any charts that you want me to take a look at before we wrap it up? All right, man. No problem. All right. Doesn't look like anybody has any more questions. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. So thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the great questions. I hope you guys got some value from my price discovery analysis. That was probably subpar in my eyes, but did my best. And again, I appreciate you guys coming hanging out with me. So, yeah, man. All right, guys. Awesome. All right, we're back on Wednesday, so look out for another live stream on Wednesday. All right.